Today we are talking about yet another collapse inside the Association of Malayalam Movie Artists. The latest fracture inside AMMA or AMMA does not come as a shock. It comes as confirmation. The resignation of its president Shweta Menon and the dissolution of the entire executive committee mark yet another moment where the association has failed to hold itself together. What was projected as a historic shift, the election of a woman president in 2025, has ended in less than a year. Shweta Menon's parting remark that one has to be a puppet to run the organization and her refusal to be one tells you everything about the association. Because AMMA's problems did not begin there. They go back years, even decades, to when the late actor Thilakan openly accused the organization of sidelining him. He spoke of being denied opportunities, of being pushed out of an inner circle, of an unofficial ban that kept him away from work. At that time, it was dismissed as personal grievance. Today, it reads like an early warning of a system that protects power and punishes dissent. That system, many would later argue, never really changed. The turning point came in 2017 with the actor assault case, a moment that shook Malayalam cinema. When the accused Dileep was arrested, AMMA initially expelled him. But in the very next year, under the leadership of Mohanlal, the organization reinstated him while the case was still ongoing. That decision triggered outrage. Women members, many of them part of the WCC, walked out. Several refused to even call the organization AMMA anymore, rejecting the idea that this body could represent something protective or nurturing. The message was very clear. This was no longer a collective that stood by its members equally. It had chosen a side. And those who questioned that choice were not treated kindly. Women who raised tough questions were often branded as perennial troublemakers. Dissent was not engaged with, it was isolated. Members associated with reform, especially those aligned with the WCC, repeatedly spoke about being sidelined within the industry. There were persistent allegations of shadow bans, not always formal, not always provable, but deeply felt, where speaking up came at the cost of opportunities. Years later, the Justice Hema Committee would give institutional shape to many of these concerns. The report did not just document harassment, it pointed to structure. It spoke about the existence of a power group, an influential network within the industry that could shape careers, control access, and crucially, silence voices. A system where power operated informally but very effectively. Seen in that light, Thilakan's allegations, the fallout of Dileep case, and the experiences of women actors are no longer isolated incidents. They begin to look like a pattern. And AMMA as an institution appears deeply entangled in that pattern. In recent years, the organization has repeatedly found itself in controversy. Internal disputes spill into public. Allegations between members turn into police complaints. Even serious issues, including defamatory and communal remarks, are not resolved within the organization but are left to the courtrooms and law enforcement. For a body that claims to represent artists, this is a fundamental failure. There is no transparent grievance redressal mechanism, no visible accountability structure. Decisions appear personality driven, not process driven. It often looks less like a professional association and more like an elite club, one that expects obedience to its power centers. This is why the latest episode matters. Because the election of Shweta Menon was not just symbolic. It came at a time when Malayalam cinema was under intense scrutiny following the Hema Committee revelations. There was talk of reform, of introspection, of change. Her leadership was seen as an opportunity for AMMA to reset. But the system did not change. Instead, the same patterns resurfaced. Internal dissent, lack of consensus, resistance to reform, and finally, a leadership that chose to walk away rather than conform. So, the question now is not about one president or one committee. What does AMMA or AMMA stand for today? Is it a trade body that protects all its members equally? Or is it still an exclusive circle shaped by hierarchy, loyalty, and informal power? AMMA's leadership never ever framed it as a trade union. It prefers the language of a charitable collective, while critics continue to see it as an exclusive club of elites. The formation of an ad hoc committee may stabilize things temporarily, but it does not address the core issue, because unless AMMA confronts the deeper questions about power, accountability, inclusion, and dissent, it will continue to repeat this cycle. From Thilakan's warnings to the Dileep controversy, from the exit of women members to the findings of Hema Committee, the signals have been consistent. The only thing that has been inconsistent is the response. And until that changes, AMMA will remain what it increasingly appears to be, not a collective of artists, but a case study in how institutions fail when they refuse to reform from within.